this is the piece I'm making here for the wastegate dump here. Nice and simple, just gave it a little angle cut and flattened it out on a belt sander, but this is how it's gonna be right here. So that'll work just fine. We clamped on there here in a second, about to weld it up, and then that'll just dump it straight down to the ground. Be good to go. And here is the end product. So it penetrated real good in there. That's it though. So this is what we got right there. Coming down nice. That's pretty freaking level with the ground too. I just eyeballed that, but that will work. Got this in here. It's ever so slightly touching right there, but I'm not really too worried about that. Got the boost pipes all on and tightened up completely. So that's all. I got them all facing the same way. Back out of the way, away from the bumper. All tightened down. About to go up top and tighten them down to the throttle body and all that stuff. So let's get her did. Got these two brackets right here that'll go on that factory bolt and hold it. I'm having issues with the bottom though, because on these the core support's actually slanted from the factory, and so it's not wanting to kick up in the bottom under there. So it's still don't have very much clearance right there, but I still got to try and get the bottom to kick out. Another issue I'm having is where the lower hose is supposed to go. How the heck is that supposed to work? So I'm thinking whenever it kicks in the bottom, it should have a downward angle, and the lower hose can go down around the boost pipe and then come back up to it. But got all that trimmed out. I got the rest of the clamps in there on the turbo flange down there, so all that's good to go. Just got to figure out what we're going to do on the bottom part of this radiator and for hoses. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do for a hose for this too, because I got this little 90 right here. But so that's where we're at right now. Check this out, guys. I am starting on my engine cover. So this is what I've got so far. Got a little spot for this pop through. I'm gonna have to trim it up a little bit more just to get it perfect, and then I'm gonna run my bead roller along here and get it to step down to screw down along the front there, and then I'll have it break a little bit along there. You can kind of see the line in the cardboard. Break up a little bit to get on top of the radiator, and then come out here. Got to trim this right here, get it away from the throttle cable and everything. I still got to put the alternator right here, I'm thinking, so this may come off right there. I really like the look of it poking through and everything, but since the alternator is going right there, this is going to have to be cut across there. Well, that's what I got so far. Also, I didn't videotape any of this, but I got spark plug wires on, and these are the Taylor cable 10.4 millimeter wires, and I got them zip tied up there to the coil bracket so that they're not touching the header, and they're not touching anywhere down in there because I got the 135 degrees, so all that clears really well. This side, haven't got it quite done yet because I'm still trying to figure out the oil return, but down there on the spark plug, I mean, none of that is touching. That's all really good fitment down there. I still got to get the drain figured out that I'm wanting to do. Let's see here, what else did we get? I got the caps on the wastegate down there that I needed to put on, and also got the the feed line down there up above the oil filter put on there. I got the fitting in that to run to the for the turbo feed. Still got to figure out where I'm going to mount the turbo oil pump, and going to end up probably putting my transmission cooler on this side over here, and it's going to have its own fan, and then I'll be able to fit 2 fans in here on the inside. Still thinking of a provision to put the condenser in. I feel when this is all set up, I might be able to get the condenser right here, and that'll almost put it in its factory spot, so the lines will probably go right up in here. I might not even have to make new lines. So that'll actually be condenser, and then transmission cooler and fan, and then 2 fans on the outside. But yeah, still trying to figure out where I'm going to put the oil pump. I was thinking maybe making a bracket off of here somewhere, but then that's just a whole lot of oil hose and a long way for it to route. So my next thought was to, whenever I make this engine cover, reinforce it in a place and be able to mount it up in here or something. So we'll see how that goes. It might make it easy for the routing for the oil hose as well for the return. Since it's being pumped, I'm going to pump it back up to the valve cover up here, so for it to loop up and then cut across over here to the valve cover, that might be just perfect. So I still got to figure that out. Got to get some extended throttle body bolts, and I got a couple gaskets on the way, and I got full fuel system on the way too. I got fuel line fittings, fuel pressure regulator, fuel rails with all the fittings for that. Got the fitting to go to the factory sending unit and the tank that adapts it to -8 AN. All that stuff's on the way. Got to get the nitrous plate in there, get lines ran to it. The only thing that I don't like about this, which I may change, is that the plate, the fittings come off of this side, and then my solenoid's over here, so the lines would have to come around and loop to the throttle body. So don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet. I'll probably figure something else out different for it. Gotta change some length on some of these since the mass airflow's out there now, so just open up that harness. I'm not doing nothing too crazy with it, just gonna get it all routed where it needs to go and relume it. But power steering pump, I'm gonna have to figure out something for this. I actually was looking at my factory alternator bracket, and I think I might be able to use, there's an idler pulley on it. I might be able to bolt it up in there and have an idler right here so that the belt comes around and then over the idler and down around the crank, so it's not interfering with any of that piping there. Also, the alternator is going to be moved up here right there, and the tensioner is going to come off. But so that's where I'm at right now. Got this side all buttoned up for the most part though. Hooked up to the stock fuel line for now. So if I get any further along, I might be able to start it up and all that good stuff before doing the full fuel system, because that's going to take a little bit in itself. Routing all new lines and figuring out a return and all that good stuff. But so this is where it's at right now. So I'm going to keep plugging away on this engine cover, because I'm trying to get the radiator situation figured out first here, so I can just figure out where everything's going to land, so I can get this made, figure out where my oil pump is, run my oil lines, and just go from there. So that's where I'm at. And then this looks a little funky right now because there's going to be another piece that comes down and connects to this that makes it all look nice and good, so it doesn't just end off right there. It'll actually fill in and then come back up here, and it'll be opened up for the strut brace, and then it'll come back up in here and it'll all come down nice and smooth, go around that, and then it'll actually be I got a flanging tool that'll actually set it down a little bit, so I'll flange one side of the sheet metal and it'll be able to go underneath, and then I'll just find some push pins that'll rise, just little plastic push pins, put 2 or 3 along each side, and then break it over and possibly have it mount to 2 or so of the inside fender bolts in there on each side. Make sure that I clear the hinges and all that good stuff up in there, so it actually might not even be able to go all the way to the back. It'll probably just be able to come like about right here, come down, and then come over where the strut ends under there. Where this bad boy ends, it'll come out and come over and connect. So getting it all together.